Morning, all. This is Brian. Um, Mentioned before, I'm going to start trying to get on these platform and start sharing a little bit more of kind of the things that I've learned over my 48 years of life. Going to be 49 this year in 2025. Um, Made a lot of mistakes over my life. Learned a lot from them. I originally had planned a different video. I actually recorded it. Everything was about 15 minutes long. Just some little food for thought on life and life being hard, and realized that how I'm going to be setting up to record to begin with until I kind of get this going a little bit more. Um, I needed a microphone and I didn't have one. So recorded the whole thing. Everything went really well. Went back and listened to it, and you just couldn't hear my voice. You couldn't hear anything. Um, so was gonna go ahead and try to record the whole thing after I got my microphone in and stuff, but then just been having something really weighing on me a lot lately, especially the last 24, 48 hours, and I'm gonna kind of change it up for my first video that I'm gonna release. Um, I want to talk about a topic that's really been on my mind a lot, especially in the last 24, 48 hours, and that's communication, right? Um, I think we've kind of lost the art of communication. I think that we've taken communication and through whatever reason or excuses, and we can get into the difference between my beliefs and between a reason and an excuse in another video, but through the use of technology, I think we've lost the art of communication. The days are gone of, jumping on the phone with a loved one, with a girlfriend, with your daughter, with your husband, with your son, whatever, and talking 30 minutes or even hours, even about how your day went, what's been going on in your life. It's all been replaced by text messages, social media, different group chats, emails, even, right? It's not uncommon for people to send out like a quarterly email to their friends and family, letting them know what their family's been going through and doing in the last quarter, versus jumping on the phones with the ones that you really want to share these experiences with, and what you've done. Um, so I think we've kind of gone the way of replacing respect and honestly just some basic common courtesy with convenience. Now hear me out. So it takes a lot of respect for somebody to spend the time and the effort to jump on that phone with them, to explain those things, to share those emotions with them, because it's a lot more emotional speaking to somebody than it is typing out a text message or typing out an email, right? They can hear our tones, they can hear our voice, they can, sense the excitement, the sadness, or the anger, whatever the emotion is that we have at that time, through that moment of the verbal communication. And we replace that with just what's convenient for us, right? We're so busy trying to be on the grind and go, 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 go. And, life is so fast and life's going to try by or whatever else, that I think we need to take some time and kind of take a step back and appreciate the moments that you're in. Take that time to have those one-on-one conversations with people. Sit down and talk with your loved one, talk with your spouse. When your son comes home from school, one thing that I really have to give my wife a lot of credit and props about is when our children come home from school, the whole time, like, they come home and the first thing they do is they break down their day to their mother. They tell them, okay, and this is a habit she got them in all the way back when they were in elementary, middle school. So our youngest one now is a senior in high school. He comes home still. He drives himself to and from school, but when he comes home, he goes and he beeline and he goes and sees his mother, and right away starts breaking down what happened every single period, even if it's just a basic recap of what they learned that day in that class. Say history class, we talked about this, we read about this and that. Math class, we did this. Oh, but you know what? I also heard this, or my friend Asher said this, or we're so now we might be going and we might be going out this weekend. Can I go? Can I do this? Can I do that? And she makes him sit there and talk with her. And I just really appreciate that she's made that a habit in their life to keep that verbal communication, because it's easy for these kids now to come home, and I hear it from all of my friends and stuff too. I'm like, hey, how's your kid doing? Da, 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 da. I don't know. How they're doing at school, don't know. You know, gone are the days of, us bringing our report card home and showing our parents and having to sit and explain to them why we had a certain grade, whatever else. It's all automated. It's all convenience. We get the email from the school and it's there digitally and whatever else. And then we're having to hunt down our kids and be like, hey, let's talk about this. Like, hey, yeah, you got some really good grades. I'm proud of you, this, and this. Oh, I thought we were doing a little bit better in this class. Right. Um, so again, just some basic common courtesy and some basic, what I would break down to being human respect has gotten replaced with convenience. So when we talk about communication too, I like, as I've mentioned before, and some of you that have known me, and some of you that are getting to know me, I'm a soccer coach. I've been coaching soccer since 1997. I've coached every level that you can coach at except for professional. I've been directors, I've ran clubs, I've about almost every program you can think of, everything that you can imagine within a soccer club, soccer community, college coaching, like I've probably done it. Um, and I always teach the players, right? There's on the field and off the field, there's verbal and there's nonverbal communication. Your verbal communication's easy. What are you saying? What are you preaching? What are you telling them, right? Like I'm telling you, defense, move up. Okay, is it good communication? Is it clear communication? Defense, move up 10 yards, move up 5 yards, 18-yard box. That's where I want my line at now. Things of that nature, right? In life, the same thing happens, right? We can verbally communicate with somebody else. And, like I mentioned, your kid comes home from school. How was school today? Okay. Okay is a general. There's no details there. There's no, that's, again, I think that's almost like, can come across as a lack of courtesy. I asked you a specific question. You kind of give me a general answer because you don't want to deal with it. You don't want to talk about it, whatever else. Well, no, we are going to engage. We are going to have this communication. We're going to break this down and we're going to talk. Right. And then you also have nonverbal communication. We'll talk a little bit more about nonverbal communication as we go forward, but the verbal communication is definitely a lost art. I see it all the time as a coach. We have players that'll come and want to try out for the club, whatever else, and I always make sure I go up to them and shake their hand. I'm like, hey, I'm Coach Brian. Nice to meet you. And they put their heads down there and they mumble. I'm like, hey, sir or ma'am, eye contact. Let's talk. Whatever. Hey, no, it's good. I'm glad you're out here with us. Welcome. And trying to build that little bit of relationship right off the back with them. And they're shy. They're not used to it. They're not used to talking to another person. One of the tasks that I started making a lot of my players when they're getting ready to go to college and getting ready for their official visits with college coaches was, hey, you need to go and talk to some of the people, some of the adults in your community, whether it's your religious community, your school community, whatever, and get letters of recommendations from them for school, like recommending, hey, can you just write a little recommendation about me as a person for this so I can use it when I go to apply for colleges and whatever else, like saying, hey, I'm a good person, I'm this, I'm that, whatever else. That made them have to step out of their comfort zone and interact with these teachers in a different way versus just asking questions in class. Hey, blah, blah, blah. Anybody know answer this? They raise their hand, they answer the question. They're able to put their heads back down and not communicate verbally, right? So I think a lot of that has been lost because now what do those players do? They send an email to their coach or to their teacher, their favorite teacher or their youth group pastor or whoever, and they shoot them a quick email and, hey, Mr. Jones, can you please write me a letter of recommendation for I'm trying to go to these colleges and I think it would really help if you write me a letter of recommendation, if you can include some things like here's my GPA, here's this, here's that, here, how long you've known me, whatever else. It's easy to replace those things, right? But in turn, we're losing that art of communication. So when we have our verbal communication, also included in that verbal communication is our nonverbal communication, right? This is how we as parents, these are where we as loved ones, when we try to talk to some of our kid, our kid comes home, like I mentioned earlier. Hey, how was school today? Fine. Oh, well, that tone. Okay, what happened? Son, sit down. What happened? Like, that's not the normal tone that I hear out of him. That's the part, while he's giving me verbal communication, the non-verbal communication in there is, his tone of voice, his body language, how he's carrying himself. Obviously, something happened in school that, was off-putting to him and didn't sit well, right? So if we don't have that verbal communication, there's no way to have the nonverbal. right? We're not approaching people. We're not talking to them. They're not able to see our blue. They're not able to see our body language. They're not able to hear the tone of our voice. And I would even say nonverbal communication goes even above and beyond that. I think it goes above and beyond and goes. I would take it so far as even to, hey, I have a meeting here, with I'm meeting friends or I'm meeting family or I'm meeting, I have a work meeting, I have whatever else, and we're supposed to meet at a certain time, and I'm 5-10 minutes late, right? Back when I grew up, that wasn't even an option. You were 10-15 minutes early so that you were there because it was a respect issue. It was, I'm going to show you the respect of we have this meeting together, whatever else. Nowadays, and if I was late, there's no way to tell them that I was coming late. So if I was late, I'm hauling, I'm trying to get there, whatever else. I'm trying to get there and take care of it and be there for them. If I did have something else coming on, I would make sure I pop my head in. Hey, I'm here, but I gotta take care of this thing real quick. Or I do have a phone call, before the ages of texting and everything else when cell phones first came out, but I'm on this call with my mom and it's kind of important, but I am here. So I'm not blowing you off, but I'm here. That's some nonverbal communication too, right? Is respecting each other's time, respecting each other's energy, um, showing up to these things, right? Nowadays, it's just people are so easy to just send a text. Oh, I'm going to be late. I'm 15 minutes out. I'm 20 minutes out. Well, really? Like we were supposed to be here at this time. I'm here and I've been here early, you know? So your nonverbal communication to me by your actions of being late and whatever else can come across to me as kind of disrespectful and lack of common courtesy, right? When you show up to these meetings, right? If it's a professional meeting, are you prepared to speak and talk about what you're supposed to speak and talk about? If it's friends and whatever else, are you coming there with the right attitude, the right positivity, or whatever else to interact with them? Like you're going to watch a game or go watch a movie, whatever else, and maybe you just had a fight and whatever else, with a loved one at home, and you show up and you're just in a bad mood and you bring everybody down, right? And it's your body language, it's your tone, it's the way that you're treating other people. That's not their fault. That you don't let your actions and your emotions reflect out on other people like that. That's not, that's again, it's kind of disrespectful to them. They didn't cause that problem, so why should they have to deal with it, right? Now, we do have certain loved ones that we lean on, that we go to, and we ask them, like, that we vent to. Hey, can you be my person? Can you do this? Hey, I had a problem. That our mentors, our guide, are basically our mentors and our, the people that help guide us through our lives. So we do reach to those people, and we depend on them to be that sounding board, that person that I can vent to, and that can provide me the guidance and so the different things that maybe I need at those moments. If we're going out to with a group of friends and whatever else, and we're going out to a restaurant, establishment, something, and everybody's dressed decently, and I show up in pajamas and flip flops and a tank top, and everybody else is, decently dressed. Like, what is that kind of? I'm doing a disservice to myself. I'm not representing myself and my family and all those that are around me, I think, to the highest of my ability, right? So people's perception of me, if they see me out like that, and I'm the oddball out, right? Everybody else is dressed to a certain standard, a certain level, and here I come in looking like, I'm a bum, I'm homeless, whatever kind of perceptions you want to say that, kind of a stereotype you want to say. Somebody gets the perception that that's what I am. Now, somebody's perception is their reality. It's not always the truth. But now I'm going to have to go through and work to break that perception. Where it could probably have been a lot easier to just put in a little bit more effort and the time, right? So this is my challenge to everybody after this one is I want you guys to sit there and take that extra 5, 10, 15 minutes it takes to make that phone call versus the text, to make that phone call versus the email, to put yourself together a little bit better when you're going to school, when you're going to meet with your friends, when you're going to meet with, a professional into your business, right? Make sure that because when you're going to these things, you don't just represent yourself. If you're going to a business meeting, you represent yourself and your business, your organization you represent, that you're there for. If you're going to meet with your friends, you guys are going out, you're going out in public, where you represent yourself plus your whole family, your parents, your siblings, you know? Um, so the challenge is take that 5, 10, like I said, even 15 minutes it takes to make sure you're on time, make sure you're presentable, or making that phone call versus sending that text. Talk to those people, communicate, use that verbal, use that nonverbal communication that, we've been kind of lacking as, and I want you guys to try to step out of your comfort zones a little bit and try to bring that back. Because I think once you do that, you're going to watch the different doors and the opportunities for you and for just open. I've gotten so many more opportunities in my life by putting forth a little bit more effort than those other people around me that have gone for the same jobs. I've gone out and did the extra work before I applied. I went and checked out the job. I went and checked out the different thing. I talked to the coworkers. I talked to the people that work there. In the soccer club world, I go and talk to parents that are in that club before I go join it. If they're trying to bring me into the club, what kind of environment are they trying to bring me into? How do I find out that information? Because I have to communicate. I have to step out of my comfort zone. I got to step away from what's always just the convenient thing and put forth a little bit more work. And in turn, I'm going to show that organization, I'm going to show those people that I'm dealing with the respect and the courtesy that has always moved me towards the top of the list and got me into the positions that I've chosen to be in. So that's your challenge. Hope you go through it. Have a good one.